as Kadima party members flock to the polls to decide on who shall head the Knesset's largest party. Yoni Kempinski reports to us from Kadima party headquarters. Shalom, Yoni.
Shalom, Aaron. I'm standing here outside the Kadima national headquarters in Petah Tikva. There's tension in the air as Kadima members go out to the polls to decide who will be the next Kadima leader, and hence probably the next Prime Minister of Israel.
All right, now Yoni, it's finally the big day, the Kadima primaries. So what exactly is happening today?
As I said, we're having primaries today. There are 4 candidates. 2 of them are more leading according to the polls. We're talking about 4 ministers, the Transportation Minister, Shaul Mufaz, Foreign Minister, Tzipi Livni, Minister of Internal Security, Avi Dichter, and Interior Minister, Meir Shitrit. Now, only Mufaz and Livni are viewed as having any real chance at heading Kadima, with most polls showing Livni ending the day as the new party chief. But the situation is not so simple, as while more Kadima members support Livni, it's still unclear how many will actually vote. While the transportation minister's base is probably smaller, it also seems that he's more able to bring people actually to vote. Practically, there are about 74,000 members of the Kadima party, 114 polling stations throughout Israel. The balloting began at 10 o'clock this morning and will continue until 10 o'clock this evening. Let's first see our report from inside the ballot here in Petah Tikva.
Today there is no ideology in politics. Today people cross sides back and forth. It all depends on the current situation. There is no ideology. None of the things that Begin and Rabin taught us. Today it's all about personal interest.
Between calling their friends, family members, and co-workers, we asked Kadima activists to convince us that their candidate is the one who should be the next party leader.
Mufaz is security-oriented. Shitrit was the first. He has the best record of all the candidates. Livni is the only one who can let the government continue as it is. He's a man of his word. He promised to stay in the Likud, but he followed his heart. Each one has a positive attribute, but Tzipi has it all.
We mainly heard claims regarding the candidate's chances to keep the government alive. And so, as the main issue is survival and not leadership characteristics, many question how long the current government, with a new leader, will stay intact.
They won't survive because labor will throw them away. They're limping. We don't have leaders like we used to, Rabin, Begin, and others who could lead the entire nation and not just small parts of society. I must tell you, all the Kadima people betrayed and created their own party. This is what happened. Arik Sharon caused it all. Anyone who took part in the disengagement from Gaza, they are losing now. I hope Livni loses. They will eventually all come back to the Likud. You'll see.
Now, Yoni, you mentioned that of the 4 candidates, only 2 are considered serious. Where exactly are the would-be leaders standing, and why would the 2 weaker candidates stay in the race if they are doing poorly?
Well, it's been shifting back and forth, but it depends on which polls you look at. Although most polls, almost all of them, give a majority of the votes to Tzipi Livni. Mufaz is hovering around 39% of the votes, according to the polls, with Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni often coming in at over 45%. Avi Dichter, Meir Shitrit are set to get around 8% to 10% of the votes, and this is, of course, a weak showing. Now, Aaron, you're asking why Dichter and Shitrit are still in the vote. It's important to understand that this will be good for them for the future. In future elections, they'll be considered the 2 who already did it. Even if they get only 8 to 10%, it still puts them in a different situation, in a situation of leadership of the Kadima party.
All right, Yoni, now if things are so close, what are the candidates doing to turn things in their favor?
Well, they're all on the cell phone a lot. We could see in news stories from yesterday, from today, that they're all on the cell phone talking directly to many of the activists in all the cities, telling people, bring people to vote. Tzipi Livni last night went to the Kotel, the Western Wall, to pray for success. And everyone's working really hard to getting as many people, of their supporters, of course, to come in and vote. Livni needs to get out the vote in general, whereas Mofaz wants only his voters at the polls.
When I started the race, I knew that that was the situation, that the Kadima members wanted a greater direct connection with the candidates, and I didn't have that at the start. Neither the media nor the polls will call the shots, rather the people themselves.
Now, you mentioned before that whoever becomes party chief also becomes the prime minister. This seems unusual that 74,000 people decide who will be the head of government.
Well, yes and no. In Israel, at least for now, the laws change back and forth. The public votes and chooses a party. They don't vote directly for the prime minister. And the Kadima party won last elections, and the number one member of the list was Ehud Olmert, and that's how Olmert became prime minister. So normally when a member of a party steps down or is forced from office, the party is the one to choose his replacement, and this is actually pretty standard. But never before was the prime minister the one who was forced out, and basically what's going on now is that the members of Kadima are voting and choosing the next prime minister of the state of Israel.
Now, how will the leading candidates be as prime minister?
Listen, Aaron, it's important to remember that we're talking about politicians here, and the politicians, as politicians do, sometimes reverse and change their opinions and their decisions. But judging from their records until now, Livni would be willing to give greater concessions to the PA and other enemies of Israel. As foreign minister, Tzipi Livni has been handling negotiations with the PA until now, and the reports have generally shown a collapse in various issues, including Jerusalem and Arabs who want to move to Israel en masse, though Livni has denied the reports. When it comes to transportation, Shaul Mofaz, he's considered more right-wing, more someone who... Some of the criticism is that he'll be more like another Likud. That's the criticism inside Kadima. But it's important also to remember that Mofaz was a member of the government, a government that is negotiating possible retreat from areas in Judea and Samaria. And so what will be with the new prime minister, only time will tell.
Yoni, thank you very much.